You talked about the Saudi ETF a few months ago. It was the rising star. How are things looking here right now in terms of the cross-listing with the mainland? I'm going to get straight to it. What's the latest?
Okay, thank you. Thank you to having me here. Last quarter we launched the Saudi ETF, Hong Kong Stock Exchange. We draw a lot of attention globally because it's the largest Saudi ETF globally. We raised about $1 billion US, and since then the market performed very well, goes up about 10%. And we constantly see cash inflow into these products. And as you said, we already apply to cross-listing this product to mainland China. And very surprisingly, in mainland China, a lot of market participants try to participate in this cross-listing. So we will have, both Shanghai and Shenzhen Stock Exchange to list in this cross-listing, the feeder funds of this specific products.
You currently have two applications looking to cross-list your Saudi ETF in mainland China. I think Huatai Pinebridge Asset Management, they submitted their application. There hasn't been that much movement though. But I look at one of your Singapore products like SQQSP, and that was approved by CSRC within a few weeks.
Yeah.
What are some of the main factors, do you think, behind why this approval process is delayed?
So this process take a little bit longer time. I think it's because on the one side is because there's after we hand in the application, there's a big holidays of China, New Year, Lunar New Year, and also there's another partners. Actually, it's our headquarters. China Southern Fund is also trying to get into the game, and China Southern Fund, with Shenzhen Stock Exchange also apply for the application. So my best guess is we will have like the two feeder funds will listing the same day on two stock exchange. So that takes a little bit time.
Okay.
But so far from the regulator, the feedbacks are all very positive. Yeah, we don't have major issues on doing that.
I think you've talked about maybe the second half. We might see this finally launched.
Yeah, there will be a second half because for mainland China, after the ETF was approved, they probably needs to another month to prepare for the listing. Yeah.
Now we talked a little bit more about the inception of the Saudi ETF. I mean, you said it's been doing well. Volumes though have come down a bit since its inception. Mm-hmm. What are some ways that CSOP can do to really pump liquidity into this ETF, and there may be more money and more funds in?
Yeah, exactly. So I think for that part, we need to do more client education, to raise more voice about these investment opportunities. So for us, definitely we try to do it. And also we want to borrow the opportunity launching the feeder funds in mainland China to raise awareness about these investment opportunities. At least regionally. Yeah. Hopefully we can bring more flows in there.
You've been telling me about your travel plans, and it's been quite busy, Chen, and it seems like you've been traveling a lot to the Middle East. What's next then? What are your plans in the Middle East now?
So I think Middle East market is a very interesting market. The capital market is growing very fast. A lot of things are still very green, I would say. For instance, like Saudi, the ETF, they only have like 9 ETFs over there. Total size is around like 150 million US dollar. That's small, but we see huge potentials over there. And last year we bring Saudi ETF Hong Kong Stock Exchange, maybe later in Shanghai and Shenzhen. And also we try to be like a bridge. Two-way traffic. We also like to bring investment opportunities, Hong Kong and China, to Middle East investors. So we do a lot of work on groundwork to do that. Yeah, find partners. Yeah.
Are you planning to have ETFs purely focused on just Saudi right now, or are you looking at other Gulf countries as well? Because Hong Kong exchanges, I mean, they've been flirting with Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Dubai as well. Exchanges. Any potential for those markets?
Yeah, we are also doing research research and talking with the local partners, try to look at the opportunities from those markets as well. And also a lot of their local institutions come to approach to us, try to have like a sort of collaborations with us as well. Yeah.
There's been reports that the CSOP ETF it's been really backed by one big name, which is the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, PIF. Are you talking to other big Gulf sovereign wealth funds out there, whether it's Mubadala in Abu Dhabi or QIA in Qatar?
Yeah, we obviously, for those names, we already have a relationship with them. We talk with them. We continually, pay visit to them, and we just wait for a right time or right products to see how we can collaborate with those sovereign wealth funds as well. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of Saudi ETFs, though, could we see more of those coming too?
Yeah, I think definitely. We are doing research, more research. When we look at the market more deeply, we find out there's more interesting, sectors or asset classes will be interesting to our, regional investors. Yeah.
I want to pivot a little bit because this is the capital markets forum for Hong Kong as well as Saudi. I mean, this Hong Kong market has been on fire, it seems, and really just coming back into this bull market. You have multiple sort of ETFs that track not just the H-share but A-share market. What are you seeing in terms of flows right now?
Yeah, so obviously, this is the hardest market for this quarter globally. So very fortunately, we have world largest Hang Seng Tech ETF, which is 3033. This specific ETF for this quarter is already up 25%.
Wow.
We see some profit taking from these specific products around like 150 million Hong Kong dollars, taking profit redeemed from this product. On the other hand, we also see another flagship store, which is 2822. It's tracked Fuji A50 ETF.
Yeah.
We see very strong, inflow in that specific product as well. We see like it's more than 180 million inflow into that products. Yeah, for the past quarter. Yeah.
What does that tell you right now? Are people more bullish about this market? Because you have these inverse products that also track these benchmarks. Are you seeing investors also betting on, or betting against, or betting for this rally more?
So this is a very good question. So for different investors, they have different views.
Yeah.
So for the past couple years, I think the main problem for the Hong Kong and mainland China markets, people don't have that much of the confidence or trust to this market. But right now we see, the major rally and also the confidence from some certain of the investors coming back. They're coming back, and we will definitely, welcome of this, because our majority of our AUM is based on A shares and also Hong Kong shares. But I think that behind these stories, there are main two drivers of this. First of all, is because of the recent macroeconomic data, they beat the expectation, and also there is another thing I think is very important, and not a lot of people are talking about, is the new chairman of CSRC. Get into the office.
Yes.
And he's doing something, it's very interesting. He's trying to clean the whole system to improve the quality of listing company and to encourage the listing company to pay more dividend. I think that will give us a new era of the investment into China and Hong Kong. It's an ongoing process, so we are still monitoring, and we try to bring interesting products to our clients as well.
You're definitely feeling that change right now. Before we go, I want to get your take on what's been going on with crypto. So CSOP decided not to launch a spot crypto ETF this time around. I mean, you missed out in the first round. It seems like, just given the lackluster performance we've seen so far in some of these ETFs that launched, are you feeling a bit vindicated? Are you happy with this decision right now?
Yeah, I would say, as industry participants, we always welcome new products, new ideas to the market. So unfortunately, at the first batch, CSOP, we cannot, introduce the physical spot Bitcoin, ETF on the market. But we are very glad there's 3 other peers introduced the products. And for us, the problem is we are still, closely working with our counterparties, our partners, try to do that, because to provide a successful ETF, it cannot only rely on fund managers. You still need custodians, market makers, PDs, everybody will on the same page. So, but for us, unfortunately, a lot of our other counterparties are not ready yet. And by the way, we launched future-based Bitcoin ETF on 2022, which is performed very well. It track using futures to check the price changes. Yeah.
Is it a matter of if or when? I mean, is it just delayed right now? I mean, are you thinking maybe in a few months' time, or that you might actually launch one? Or?
But it depends on how ready we are.
Okay.
So CSP, we are, we're prudent, and we know we have fiduciary duty need to fulfill.
Yeah.
If we were not ready, we are not ready. If we're ready, we will do it.